Of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So if you folks don't mind, we have a couple of recognitions from the Eagle Scouts that, if it's all right, we'll go out of order and do that first.
Absolutely.
Everyone okay with that? Excellent. All right, so Brendan, do you want to do the introductions?
Sure. I'm going to ask Wataru Korem to come up first. If you'd like to just come up, and you can stand right there if you want. We'll make you the center of attention for a couple minutes, all right? So Wataru came back in the fall of 2020, approached us about, or just before that, probably in the spring. We talked, I think, a little in the summer about a project, an Eagle Scout project. He was working on his Eagle Scout badge, and he lives in the neighborhood of Pathwoods Tot Lot, and proposed doing a little renovation to the park, which included adding a stroller parking area, adding a bike rack, and then renovating a bench that was there. And over the course of a couple weekends, he put together a crew and really did a nice job improving the park. That park is a tot lot and sees a lot of younger kids and families. And we were fortunate enough to have him do those improvements to the park, and they really look nice. I think I've actually seen bikes in the bike rack and not strewn on the ground, so thank you very much. And I've even seen a stroller there as well, parked in that spot. So he is currently a freshman at Houghton College in Western New York and is studying music in the music industry. And we asked him to come tonight for a little recognition. So Kevin, if you would like to come up, we have this certificate of our appreciation for your work, and we'll do a picture if that's okay with you. And we'd like to thank you to the group, from the group. Yeah.
All right, so let's do it. Can we do the background right over here? And we're super informal. You can just stand on the table or whatever you like. All right. So,
In recognition, or in appreciation, Wataru Korem, friend of Parks and Recreation Department, for your Eagle Scout project to improve the visitor's experience at Pathwoods Tot Lot, presented by the Burlington Recreation Commission, December 20th, 2021. So thank you very much for your work.
More important.
Yes.
all right, good job.
Thank you.
All right, and
Anything,
good luck in college. All right.
anything you want to add on the project? All right. You don't have to say anything, but thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, Kevin, maybe we should stay up here.
All right.
In our next Eagle Scout, as you can tell, we're beneficiaries of Eagle Scouts here in Burlington. We're thankful for the work that they do. And our next Eagle Scout is Mike Wadilla. Mike is a junior at Burlington High School. He took on a very ambitious project. Mike, yes, thank you, if you want to come up. Creating 2 Gaga ball pits at one at Regan Park and one at Wildwood Park. Both of these parks were picked because they do have summer programs, playground programs in them, and it is a very popular sport or activity for children to do. And both of these parks had their own issues, including a high water table in one at Regan Park, and then some uneven ground that they did a nice job leveling out, and the same thing at Wildwood. So Mike did a great job putting these together, getting his team and his crew together, working with Bill, our Superintendent of Recreation Maintenance, and scheduling the drop-off of supplies and the removal of any of the earth that you did remove. So did a great job with that, and we would like to thank Mike Wadilla for his Eagle Scout project as well, and congratulate him on his Eagle Scout project. I'll give you the same opportunity. Anything you want to add?
Thank you for your patience. I know it took a while, so.
It's good. We had a rainy summer, and so, you know, and we ran into those little issues, but
Yeah.
you did a nice job as well, so thank you.
Did
All right.
Bill let you use the tractor to level everything on?
I wish. We did end up just doing it by hand, but it builds character, so that's what Eagle Scout's all about, so.
All right.
Well done.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Good luck in that test tomorrow.
Oh, thank you. I'll need it.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Night.
Thank you. All right. My goal is to get my picture taken at every meeting.
Starting now, so you're 1 for 1.
Right.
Better do selfies, Kevin.
So why don't we continue with the agenda and the approval of the minutes of November 29th, 2021.
So moved. Second?
Motion by Dave, second by Tom. Any comments, corrections?
I think they were very well done.
Yeah, I also agree with that. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, so 4-0-0. And if you just want to sign them. We should have done public participation when we had someone here. So, is there any public participation? Nope. Okay, so we'll go to the Director of Parks and Recreation report, Brendan Egan.
All right, thank you very much. So I had this as my first agenda item the last time, but we have a new recording clerk. Sure she wants to be pointed out right now, but Emily O'Donohue, she's the recording clerk for the zoning bylaw review committee, and we are excited to have her on hand. This will be her first meeting, and hopefully she'll be with us for a while going forward.
Good.
So,
Excellent. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Do you need spelling on O'Donohue? Okay,
Apostrophe after the O.
all right.
so just so you know too, we have David Norden, Kevin Sullivan, Stephen Nelson, and Tom Murphy.
Aye.
And absent is Bill
Gaffney.
Gaffney. Thank you. Almost drew a blank. So, and you met Bill and Kelly earlier. So, all right, excellent.
I guessed on everybody last time, so.
Yeah. Did a nice job. Did a nice job. All right, we're through our scouts. Some exciting news from the Simons Trust. We've been working with them. Prior to the pandemic, we talked in our yearly conversations with the trust about special projects in the, you know, when something comes up that's outside of the normal distribution of funds, that they would consider special projects. One of the special projects that we talked about was a tree house up at Simons Park that could be used for programming, but also open for people to just go and enjoy during their trips to Simons Park. And we've been talking about this for a little while, and last summer we were approached by a local family who had lost their last parent and was looking to make get involved in a project in Burlington with a sizable donation of $100,000. So when we talked with them about a couple projects, they really liked the idea of the treehouse. And the Simons Trust was very interested that someone was willing to pick up about half of the cost. And we started conversations with the Simon's Trust. We looked at how we could get this done through different means, whether it was projects that were approved by the trust in past years that hadn't been completed yet, or by utilizing the funds from this year's disbursement and next year's disbursement and just holding off on the projects that we were going to be bringing forward. Or the third way would be to do what they call an invasion of capital, where they'd have to go into the trust and they'd have to get permission from the Attorney General's office and things like that, which they felt they could do because it was for an improvement to the park. But after we met with them last week, and after looking through the Simon's Trust, there were a couple projects that hadn't been started yet due to COVID and other reasons. So we were able to identify funds in the trust that the town holds that will cover up to $120,000. So it'll be this year's disbursement of 65, and then another 70 that we identified in past projects, a couple projects that weren't done. So over the next few months, we'll be working with the contractor to, it's a treehouse company out of Vermont that builds specifically tree houses. We'll be working with them to secure a date, plans that can be approved, and going through the process with the building department and getting this off the ground. The goal is to have it completed in 2022 for the family. Obviously, for tax purposes, they need to utilize, or however it works, work with their inheritance and do that. But also, we'd like to see it get off the ground and get going, and the Simon's Trust is very excited to start that. So at this time, we're not able to say the name of the family, but when we have everything set and plans are in and submitted to the building department, we'll let that information out. But we're very excited about it. It will be completely accessible. We've had this treehouse company came out 2 years ago almost now, and they, the owner walked the site. He spent time up there sketching out a plan, so we have a sketched out plan that we can share as well. We just need all the building things. So they'll utilize the oak trees. The area will be right above the skate park, in kind of, the Club Simon's program uses like a picnic grove. We've had entertainers there and stuff before, so it'll be right there. The ramp will come off of the pavement and will go up to a platform, and then ascend a little more to another platform, and then finally up into the treehouse. We give a great look of Simon's Park, the woods and the courts, and also back to the Visco building, and we just think it'll be a great amenity to Simon's Park, just another draw.
Let's see, Kelly, do you want to talk about what the treehouse is, how big, and what it's going to be used for programming?
Sure. So the treehouse itself is 16 by 16 feet. It'll have some burlap swales on the side so that we would be able to roll them down if we are offering a class up there. We are looking to offer maybe some nature programming up there, utilize it during Club Simon's time for some of the space that they typically use in the building to be able to be more outside and more accessible. Our TR division is looking at utilizing the space for some of their programming as well. So we see this as an extension of the programming space we have at the community center now. And we are excited to be able to do that. I think that's kind of the gist of it. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
How high will it be?
12 feet.
I think.
I don't have a copy of the plan with me here. I think it's 12 feet is the deck off of the ground.
The last one kind of wraps in a circle.
This ain't gonna be like the tree houses we see on TV that guy makes.
I called him, it was much more expensive.
Those things
I'm
went way
not
up.
related to that guy, but
No.
I wish it was.
Right, some sort
Those
of
things are
family
awesome.
discount, yeah.
But Kelly did visit a couple of the sites. They have some tree houses up in Vermont, some on conservation property overlooking large conservation areas, and are pretty open, right?
Yeah,
Big round, nice roof. So it'll be semi-weather tight. Summertime, it'll be, you can be in there in the rain, but, won't be enclosed by any stretch of the imagination. But a nice teaching area, a nice area just to maybe relax, read a book. If your kids are playing on the skate park, go up there and read a book. So,
That's great news.
yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah, and I sat in on the meeting with the Marshall Simons Trust, and they were excited about the project, and yeah, I didn't know if it would be something that would be achievable, and this is working out great, so, great job.
I'm gonna say that you'll see in the next 5 years another Parks and Recreation Department put one in Massachusetts. It's just how it goes.
They just follow us.
We do something and, just saying, that might be the case, so, but we're excited about it. Just another, element and thing for people to come and visit Simons Park, so we're thankful for that.
Okay.
The next item I have, we have been working with the Burlington Players on, to replace the seats. I've been helping them work with the building department on, making sure they have a plan. They did have a plan done by an architect who, they submitted it to me, looked it over, and then I passed it on to the building department to see if they had any suggestions. Last week I met with the building department. They had a couple suggestions and were able to go back and forth. During the time that the players were removing the old seats, they had the tile floor tested. The tiles, the old 12 by 12 tiles that are in there, did test positive for asbestos. They had a company come in and come up with a remediation plan. So part of their project will now be to remediate those tiles, and they are going to pick up the cost for that. I have put them in touch with the Board of Health, because that's who oversees asbestos removal. At the same time, we are going to be meeting to do a quick walkthrough and just put the plan, get a visual on the plan tomorrow morning with the building department and representatives from the Burlington Theater Company, or Theater Company of Burlington. And we'll do a little walkthrough. I'm confident that they've taken all the right steps. The building department is confident in the plans that have been submitted, just for review, and I believe everything will be in order, and then they will be applying, once we get through tomorrow's meeting, they'll be applying officially for a building permit, demo permit, building permit, and they'll be applying with the Board of Health for their asbestos permit. And they have a licensed asbestos company that's working with them. Once they remove the tiles, I forgot to mention, they will be sealing the floor after. So there won't be any further issues there.
Excellent. Questions? We voted on approving the renovation. If for any reason it changes more than just, a little, can you come back
Yep,
with an
it
update?
was materials, looking at fire blocking. Did they have enough fire blocking underneath the risers, and making sure the risers are out of fire resistant plywood and lumber.
Okay.
So those are the only things that the building department came up with. So they wanted to make sure, it's
Excellent.
done correctly, so. All right, and that is it for, well, the only other thing I had, we had talked, I'm gonna butcher this, but semi-quincentennial, which is the 50th anniversary, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Peter Capola had mentioned coming as a member of the Historical Commission to discuss the semi-quincentennial and discuss projects that would go on that, they would be looking for our assistance with. He was not able to make it tonight, but he will be coming to our January 24th meeting. So
Excellent.
just wanted to let everyone know that. And then my other items are for later down on the agenda.
Okay. So, any questions for Brendan, folks? Okay, so the Park Superintendent report, Bill Baker.
Okay. Some things we've been working on. We finished the leaf cleanup this past week, cleaning up at the high school. With the decent weather, we were able to get to all the parks and schools, as well as Human Services Building in the center of town at least once. We'll be taking the leaf box and the vacuum off the dump truck this week. Most of the crew spent a day last week working on the dog park. They spread pea stone, raked stone dust and stone, regraded and generally cleaned and trimmed the whole area. We got lots of thank yous and appreciation from the dogs and the people that spent time there. They were waiting to get in. We put out field closed signs at the various fields that need a rest for the winter. We assembled 2 memorial benches that'll be installed on the common. The cement pads were poured last week, and we should get the benches out there this week. 80 bags of fertilizer were spread at Wildwood and Francis Wyman fields for the last application of the season. And we've been keeping up with the trash at all the parks, schools, and town common. And actually, I wanted to say something about Lower Marshall Simons. Is there any way we can get any kind of cameras down there? Because there's a lot of dumping going on down there. We just picked up, I think it was a dishwasher, a bookcase,
Really?
a large screen TV. That was all today. And there's always construction stuff being dumped there, right behind those trailers. I don't know if there's anything that we can do about it, but it's an ongoing thing.
Like trucks pulling up and
Oh, yeah, it's,
stuff?
I don't know if it's the same person, different people, but it's always a dumping spot.
Are the driveways covered by cameras up there, I wonder? No?
There's, unless it picks it up coming from the front of the school, I don't know if they're coming in off of Locust. I have mentioned it in the past, but
Yeah.
like you said, it has picked up, I think, recently a little more, and,
I think a couple weeks ago it was all computers dumped there, and it was just always
This
a dumping ground.
probably somebody that's doing this. That knows, yeah. I've seen a vehicle pull up, I was in the parking lot and, waiting on something, and I was in my own car. And the car pulled, no, I was in the town vehicle, car pulled down, it was a truck with stuff in the back and parked down there. And then the person got out and had a cigarette. And I saw him kept looking up the parking lot at me, and I didn't go anywhere, and they got back in and left. And I checked back, I left and I came back like a half an hour later. Still nothing, but, it may be a common sight for maybe an individual.
And let me check it, the building grounds over there. I mean, if it's coming via truck, they're coming in one of the entrances, so maybe we
Right.
can at least get a camera on that,
Probably that back entrance and just right in that corner.
And there is a telephone pole, or a light pole, so there is electricity there to put, some kind of camera that can.
Yeah, let me see if I can get any information on that.
Would we also want to put up for inexpensive solar floodlights? They're not expensive, you could put them up, and if people were in the area and the lights go on, they might
Yeah.
think twice, a couple of $100, you could light up that whole area pretty seriously, that people might be a little more uncomfortable.
I suppose even a sign, no dumping sign.
You might need that, Bill, before you can arrest them for doing it.
Right.
Okay,
All right.
it's too bad. Questions for Bill?
No, good job. I thought the lights came out excellent this year.
Thank you, yeah, they look nice. You guys did a good job.
Did we get more lights? It seems like we have more
Maybe a little more than last year. We try to add maybe a dozen strings a year.
Excellent, and you have the right power for it now.
All we need is a little snow.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Just a dusting.
Just an inch is good. Just for the kids, Christmas morning. It's gonna be cold all week, we might get it.
Yeah.
They're actually saying Christmas, maybe.
Maybe a little bit.
So, Bill, can you email, when it comes for the agenda, send out your report so people can look at it
Sure,
ahead of
yep.
time?
I just didn't get it done.
Well, last year we got kind of, with COVID and everything, we
Right.
got laid back. Be nice to get back to
Sure.
a little bit more of the formal stuff. Programming report, Kelly Lehman.
So the first item on my report is about our programs. Our basketball programs began on Saturday, December 11th. The basketball programs, again, are for boys and girls in grades 2 through 8 this winter. We'll do some kindergarten, first grade stuff after the first of the year in I think it's February after break, and into March. So games and scrimmages are held on the weekends with practices held throughout the week. And we're seeing a good bounce back in our numbers there, as far as returning to our typical programming is concerned. Additionally, our skiing and snowboarding program will start in January, right after the first of the year. We'll have 2 buses headed to Neshoba on Tuesdays and 1 bus going to Wachusett on Fridays. The Neshoba program is for our elementary school children, and Wachusett is for middle and high school children. At this point, I think we have a few spaces left on Neshoba because we decided to go to 2 buses, but other than that, the programs themselves are full, which is a good sign again for a return to typical programming. We're excited to announce that our therapeutic recreation specialist, Emma Jones, was accepted into the National Inclusion Project's Pilot Online Inclusive Recreation Specialist course. So she'll be taking this course along with colleagues from across the country, talking about how we can provide more meaningful and intentional programming for kids of all abilities. She will be taking this course from January until May, and when she's completed, she will be a certified inclusion recreation specialist through the National Inclusion Project. So we are excited and proud of her for going ahead and doing that. Because this is a pilot program, this is a free program, so we're excited for her to be able to get this professional development at little to no cost to us across the board. Our special events, we have had 7 special events in 16 days. So we're a little busy. Santa loves to hang out here in Burlington. So again, we had the tree lighting on the 5th. We did photos with Santa at Grandview Farm on the 7th. The 14th, 15th, and 16th, Santa called children of Burlington. The 16th, we also had a virtual cookie decorating with Santa and Mrs. Claus. And day 16 is tomorrow, and it wraps up with one more session of photos with Santa, including a session for sensory-friendly photos for families that need that. All of our programs were full to capacity with wait lists on all of them, so we were excited to see that people are responding really well to our special events, and that will continue. And the final thing for me today is I wanted to talk about renting of our gym. Our gym is a very popular area to rent. There's not a lot of large spaces in Burlington to be able to rent, especially at the quite affordable price which we rent it for. And as such, we have a lot of people asking if they can rent our gym. The same several renters have been renting the gym space since I started here 14 years ago. And I am told that previously it was the same several renters renting the space. So in order to make it more equitable for all of the residents of Burlington, starting in January, we'll be going to a lottery system where everybody who is interested in renting space within our gym will be able to submit an application with their choice of times, my first choice of time, second choice, third choice. And we will just be pulling a lottery, and the first person gets their first choice, the second person gets their first choice if it's available, if not the second choice, and we'll go on until all of our available space is full. This is something we will be doing each season, because that's how we rent our building, because it is based on our program capacity, so it's only available space that is available to residents to be able to rent.
Questions on that? So so is it the volleyball, pickleball, where are we? Just so if we
It's
get
all
phone
kinds. It's all
calls.
kinds of stuff. People want to play basketball. They want to play volleyball. They want to play pickleball. Sometimes they just want to be able to like shoot around with their kids. This would be for full season rentals only, so they would have to rent the entire 10 or 12 weeks depending on the season. But we have had a lot of interest for people to do whatever. A badminton is also another one that's very popular use in our gym. So you know, it's a growing need, and it's a need that hasn't been addressed in many years. And this we think is the fairest solution. I'm not sure that all of the renters who were renting for all that time are going to think that, but in order for us to accommodate everybody, this is the best way we figured out.
So,
Brendan?
yeah, I just want to add, you may get phone calls, and this is the most equitable way to do that. There's a stack every year that Jesse gets. Jesse does our indoor facilities, that are people who want to rent but can't because we've done it traditionally by, you know, the renters from the season before get first choice. They want to come back. Well, of course they do. You know, they're getting a 2-hour time block for $50 now. And when I was here prior to Kelly's 14 years, and when she mentioned the same renters, they were the same names. You know, 5 years when I came back, were the same people renting the same time slots. So it really, we get new requests all the time, and it's really the most equitable way to do that. It'll be online generated choosing, so we put all the names in, and they'll get pulled out. You may get phone calls, but you know, some of the same group, you'll probably get a phone call if they don't get a spot, is what it'll be. Plus, during the week, there used to be some time slots here and there, but if we're renting it out, we sometimes get, if we need to put a program in somewhere, you'll get the call from the person. I've had that time slot for, yep, you've had it, but we haven't needed it for programming, and we just keep growing and growing. We need to be able to program first, and then anything that comes after that is available for another department or a private rental from a resident. So as long as that's understood, when you do get the calls, and we could put together a little, you know, information sheet if that would help you guys if you get a call. But it's important to be able to program, and then when there is open space, be equitable about it. And you know, the same group shouldn't get the same. You know, a lot of them play in 2 different groups, right, back to back. So they'll wind up with 4 hours of playtime, and they might do, you know, they'll put it. One person will rent the 12 to 2, and their friend will rent the 2 to 4, and then now you have a 4-hour time block of the same 15, 20 people.
The other thing that we've been running into is that when people don't want to rent anymore, they just continue to use the same name, because that person still lives in Burlington, and they'll just say that we're renting under Brendan Egan. But Brendan might not even be there ever during any of the sessions, and they just use the name because they know he would have first choice the next season. So this will kind of, you know, be hopefully the equalizer. We know change is hard, and we know that we're going to get some feedback on it. But again, we're trying to look at what's the most equitable for everybody.
Okay, just a quick question. So, the gym space, it won't affect the Council on Aging, any of this? This is, like,
These are mostly weekends.
It's nights and weekends, usually like 8 to 10 in the evening, or Saturday afternoons and all day Sunday is what we typically rent. We would rent space during the day if people are interested in that. But our hierarchy, which we follow, is our programming, other town departments, and then renters. So if we're not using it, the Council on Aging's not using it, the planning department doesn't need it for something, like whatever it is, Then we would go to renters, and at that point, we would say, this is what we have available.
Go, Steve.
I'm just wondering, are we breaking even on the rental fees? Do we make some money, and is that part of the reason we have a little bit of extra money this year, or?
I would say we probably break even. The town covers our overhead in the building. So, what goes into facility rentals, we do use to purchase items for the building, usually. Whether it's some fitness equipment, a lot of that comes from the fitness programs. If we're buying new volleyball nets for the renters or our own program, basketball nets, if we do improvements to the sound system, something like that. I think during COVID, we were utilizing some of the funds for cleaning supplies beyond what we would normally get. Hand sanitizer for the building, so those type of things. Goes back into the building.
So there's a little extra that we,
And covers the supervisor down at the desk that we have. So we have,
Covers the salary.
once we leave, our office closes at 4:30. We have someone on Monday through Friday, beginning at 4:30. Saturday as early as 8:30. And Sunday, we can't find someone right now, so we aren't renting on Sundays.
We will have
But-
to in the winter.
Yeah. So that covers a portion of their pay, goes to offset the part-time.
But it also covers the supervisor at the desk when we aren't having renters and we aren't generating revenue, right? Like the revenue from our programming, we typically break even on. So we use the rental fees to be able to cover that supervisor to be at the desk when it's all of our programs running and we're not generating revenue, let's say.
that's informative, thank you.
Okay, so, just to make, Dave,
Go ahead, finish.
I had a call this year from, and I get it every 5 years, the exercise for the seniors, us taking space away from them. None of these rentals will affect the,
I don't think that would affect, so I was gonna talk about this as well.
it happens every 5 years.
We were, yes, traditionally, we have not needed a space on Monday and Wednesday between 10 and 11. And the Council on Aging has always asked if they could run an exercise program in our gym. The answer has been yes. But as we've increased and we've needed to space programs apart a little bit more for COVID, and we've added programs, we have needed to program our space for ourselves, for our own programs first. And I know it sounds awful, like we're throwing people out. We're not doing that. That's not our goal. Some of those same participants that do those fitness programs do fitness programs with us. In this particular situation, we have offered a number of solutions, and they were not accepted, those solutions. So we're pretty confident we have a solution that will work for the 10-week session, that is the winter. But going for, again, we can't guarantee that spot will be open again. Our goal and our mission for our programming division is to program the space that we have to fit all the programs that we want to do, and whatever is left over after that, can go out, like Kelly mentioned, the Council on Aging, the Planning Board, whoever else, if they need space. We are not trying to push a program out. But sometimes outside the box thinking is needed by whoever. And I think we do a good job of that, offering solutions to other departments that may need space at certain times. And whether they do that or not is, up to them. But trying to be tactful here.
I know, tactful, but the seniors are residents too, and it's in essence a programming for them exercises. It's
Right.
it's a niche that we don't cover.
Oh, we do.
Oh, we do.
We do. We cover it plenty. We have a lot of seniors, and we offer Zumba Gold and those type of classes ourselves. So you know, there were other times that it was available to use.
It's,
So
yeah.
hopefully we have a solution by their class this Wednesday that they'll know about going into next year.
Okay. Anyone else? Dave?
So, we're gonna start this in January 22. So is it in our brochure, the rental how we rent the gym? How
It
does that
just
all
says
work?
that, in our brochure, it just says that rentals are available. It says that our spaces are available for rent. And if they have further questions, they can contact the office. It's very vague because we haven't been able to allow other people to rent the gym for years.
Because these people have been
Correct.
locking it in.
So-
So these people who, we know who they are, I don't know who they are, but you guys know who they are. So we go to this lottery system. How are we letting them know? Do they know already we're doing this?
So they were notified today. Jesse has been keeping track of all of the people who have been interested in asking for gym time over the last several years. So all of the existing renters and all of those people who are interested in renting were sent an email today letting them know about the new process, telling them where they can get the form that they need to fill out to enter the lottery. And we will be posting on our social media accounts
That's what I was gonna
that
suggest.
if people are interested in renting our gym, to reach out to Jesse. There are a few maybe screening questions that we will be asking people to make sure it's not the same people from the same groups putting in another application. So there will be a bit of a screening process that Jesse is gonna go through with the people who are interested in renting the gym. There's a deadline, I believe it's December 27th, for them to let us know what they wanna do, and fill out that form. Once the form's filled out, the last week in December, Jesse will be in and she'll be running the lottery, and letting people know what times they have starting in January.
So I'm all on board for this, but I just wanna make sure that you guys, so, like you said, you could run into, because we wanna make it so every resident has it. So we just gotta make sure it's out there, social media, it's out there, people know what the rules are gonna be before you guys start blocking out time.
Right, we just felt it
Time.
was important to reach out to those renters
Right,
today first, and then I
that's
think
good.
either tomorrow or Wednesday, I think the plan is to go out on social media and just tell people, we'll now be renting using a lottery process. If you're interested, call in or reach out to us.
And this will be each season, we're gonna be changing, and it'll be.
Yeah, cause it's a different schedule each season, like
Right.
Tuesdays,
Yeah,
Tuesday from 8 to 10, right now is not available because we have pickleball in there, but in the
Right.
spring it will be, cause pickleball will be outside.
Well, it's-
So like,
yeah.
those kinds of things will change, and we just wanna maximize the space use,
I would try and put it on the spring brochure,
of course.
you know, that's how it's gonna be, that'd
Yep.
be, so, no, that's my only concern. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm good. No, I think it's a good idea.
All right, good luck.
We've already gotten a call from
I got 3 calls from that
three
one
calls.
person.
Oh, yeah, from that same person.
Well,
It's a change. It's,
Yeah.
it's a
if they have
change.
any, they can more than happy call me
Sure.
and give my number, okay, cause I,
Yeah.
you know, I think it,
What's your
we
number?
explained that
And
every,
what-
no, listen, because I think everyone should have the opportunity to use the gym.
100%.
That's how I feel, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but,
I agree.
you know, people shouldn't be locking up the gym for themselves each season.
I mean, if we have more gym space, it would be
Oh,
different,
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely, but I
but-
try to make it, you said equitable, so I'm on board.
You can always rent from the school department, a little higher price.
Not for $50 an hour.
And, you know, to be fair, a lot of the youth sports groups are already looking
They do.
for indoor space, so, you know, they're taking up time. So, you know, gym space is at a premium, and I think the Mount Hope has that gym there, but that's, I think, a lot more expensive, and that's booked up as well. You know, we give people options when they're looking. We say you could try the schools, Mount Hope, so in the future, the recreation center has a larger gym, more gyms, that'll be much easier to,
Is that on
So
our
it's
10-year
a full-size
capital
gym.
plan? The whole new recreation department?
Oh, okay, Steve?
Do we still run recreation basketball programs over at Francis Wyman?
Yep.
Remember, I played in that. Those
Did you?
programs, years ago, they were great programs.
That's back, they used to have the jump ball after every basket.
They had one of those peach baskets.
Peach baskets.
That's all I have.
All right, any other questions for Kelly? Okay, chairman's report, I don't have anything other than what Brendan had already talked about. Any subcommittees?
The Sculpture Park had a fundraiser Saturday at Grandview Farm. It was supposed to be at the Sculpture Park, but it was, the weather, they didn't know what the weather was gonna be. It was a holiday event. I was there briefly, but it was well attended. I mean, it was very good, and hopefully they raised a lot of money. I've sent out an email to Barbara today, so I was hoping to get you more feedback. But, you know, Barbara and John are very passionate about it, and they want to do the right thing, and so they're doing everything they can to raise the money for the sculpture park, so I give them a lot of credit. So that's it.
Excellent. Great, I saw pictures in the paper.
Yeah.
I think it was on the paper or the patch.
Yeah, so,
And it had a nice turnout.
great turnout.
Okay, new business, we have to discuss the 10-year plan.
Yes, so, this year's request, so, let me just go back. We did have a department heads meeting today. They are planning to have the guidelines to us, the beginning of January. But it looks like it will be the same as, last year. Should be a level, or 2 years ago, level funded. The capital, looks like it'll be the same as it has been. There won't be a decrease in capital. The receipts from restaurants are, you know, they're bringing in money, they're doing well. The hotel, the room tax and stuff is still lagging behind. But in the money that was approved, is it last September at town meeting from the federal government that can be used over the next 3 years, they feel like they won't have to take a dip in capital expenditures, which is why when we go in to talk about this, why you'll see the items that are on there. And like I said, they'll be out in the beginning of January. As soon as I have them, I will share them. They're looking at having everything in the beginning of February, in early February, the department budgets, and the capital will probably take the same calendar as it has in the past. And we usually go to capital budget sometime the first 2 weeks of February. My plan for capital now is I am still waiting on some final quotes on some things, but I wanted to give you the list of items that we're looking at for this year. And I did put those into my report, and I understand my report didn't go out on Friday. Did everyone get it on Friday, or Bill's?
I just got today's.
Okay.
You had a double
So I
program one.
I added it. Oh, is that what it was? I must have hit it twice.
Kelly's report.
So I
It was
Twice
that
as
important.
went, yes. Well, anything you ask for, Kelly, you can get. So I figured I'd throw two of hers on there. Obviously the big one is the renovation of the basketball courts at Simons Park in new lights. Right now, I'm at about 190,000, and these are quotes. These are estimates that companies are giving based on right now, right? They could go up, they could go down. But we have a pretty solid number for the lights themselves, which would be purchasing off a state contract, and that's in the 45 to 50, right in that range. The actual paving, repaving of the courts, the one quote I received was 70,000. And this company that I got it from, has bid and been successful bidding on our projects in the past, but we've also had companies that have bid and come in $20,000 lower. So, you know, there could be some fluctuation there, but we don't wanna, you know, under ask, at our warrant request. And then the other part of that is the actual installation work that has to be done. So, installing 3 poles, and putting a control box in. Right now, we have a small, it's a timer in a cabinet telephone pole that's also the light pole for behind the basket. So there is some work that has to be done, trenching, augering of the hole, setting the poles. So that's right now at 66,000. So we're just under 190,000 for that. And the Simons Trust has some money that was set aside a couple years ago for new backboards and stuff. So feel we'll be able to cover the backboards and supports and all that out of the Simons Trust. And the rest of this would be a warrant article for the town, for us to go before Ways and Means, capital budget, Ways and Means, and then town meeting for. So, but I am waiting on another figure for that before it's finalized, but we're probably looking at 190. These courts do need to be renovated. It was on our capital plan for this year anyways, but I think we've received more calls. Would you say, Bill, his maintenance guys did some work down there trying to seal the cracks that were there last year, and we did a good job on one of the courts. We never got to the other court. The lighting is subpar. People make do with it, but it is behind the backboards. It shouldn't be behind the backboards. It should be on the corners of the court, so the light isn't in anyone's face. And those courts are kind of smushed up to each other as well, looking to give it a little more room there, and both in length, so we can spread the courts apart a little bit, and a little bit wider, so it'll come towards the parking lot a little. The lights that will go in, the lighting system, is just like we put in on the tennis courts. It would be LED, 25-year warranty on them, where they cover bulbs and all the major stuff. We have to deal with fuses if it's a fuse issue, but they deal with everything else. It can be set just like the other ones via an app or logging into your desktop, and a lot lower spill off, very directional light. So anyone in the neighborhood on Lexington wouldn't get a lot of lights, spilling off onto their properties as well.
Steve?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions, Brendan.
Sure.
I'm thrilled to see the Simons Park renovation, we've been talking about that off and on. I assume when you're talking about backboards, we're gonna remove what we have there
Yes.
now and put in some nice.
Yep, all new supports and all new backboards and rims.
And that's gonna be funded through the Simons Trust? That work?
We have money set aside in the trust that would cover the cost of the basketball supports, backboards, rims.
Good. That's long overdue. It's been not neglected. We've been trying to maintain it for years and years and years. It hasn't changed much since Tom and I played there I won't say when. We're not gonna have a blue surface, are we?
We were thinking of orange, Woburn orange. The
Well,
blue
anyway.
surface is pretty good, though.
So, I don't know if I'm gonna agree with that, but, on the warrant article itself, you said that there was a department head meeting and there was some conversation about trying to allot the same amount of capital this year as we did last year. Was it 2 million last year? $1 million for the schools? and
I
$1 million
think
for
we're
the town?
going back to, prior to that, I think it was 2.5 million. Not, last year, I think they kept it to 2,
Yeah.
but next year
We're
they.
gonna go back to the 2.5?
I believe so.
That's good.
Again, these are all things they're still working on and trying to finalize for us. So there is no hard, this is exactly what it's gonna be yet.
Well, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Because we can have conversations with
Right.
people on the town side as well and advocate for that higher
Yeah.
amount. When you gave us the 10-year plan a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that there were no vehicles on it, and now we've got 2 vehicles. Is that something recent that's happened, where we're losing,
I think they crept up quickly. So one of them, R1, was the former superintendent's vehicle. It's a small Ford Ranger. It will not pass inspection the next time. The floorboards are gone. When you shift it, it's got the steering column shifter, right? And that needle,
Kind of waves around a little
Yeah, you guess when you're in drive or not. Sometimes you press the gas and it's really still in neutral.
I hope the gas gauge works. When I was in
It-
college, I didn't have a gas gauge.
It does.
I guess. Yeah.
Right? It works. I haven't driven it in a long time, but it does operate, the gas gauge. And, so that would be the first one to replace. R2, which is a pickup, currently is a pickup truck. It doesn't have a dump body in it or anything, right? Just a typical pickup truck. They have put, in the last 12 months, it's got 100,000 miles on it. They've put in, give you a total here, about $5,000 into it. Brakes, what else? Suspension, shocks.
A lot of things, and it's still not good.
And it's it's a 2011 and it's been well used. So part of the need to do our vehicles is that over the last, would you say, 8 years, we've been spending more time doing roads during plowing season. Where we used to do, go out and do the school parking lots first, and then if they needed a hand, they'd call us off to do roads. The way I understand it now is we're doing roads first and then going in. So it does take its toll on these trucks. So maybe before we didn't get as beefy as a 350, the 350s are what are necessary now, knowing that we're gonna be doing that work
There's
first.
a shortage of drivers, too. I'm not questioning the need, I'm just
Yep.
looking for some information about it.
Yeah,
so
so-
people understand it.
Yeah, I was just trying to go, get to the reason why two of them popped up. We understand if we had to choose one, it would be R1 would be done first because that's in the more immediate need. It's not gonna pass inspection when it's due in,
I'm not saying you should choose them. I mean,
Yeah.
if we need them, we should push for them.
right,
I'm not saying why take one off or not. I'm a firm believer in pushing for these things.
Yeah.
Let somebody else tell us to take them off. And-
yeah. It's been a couple years, I think, since we got a vehicle.
Yep.
Anyways, because we had updated the fleet, for the most part, but then these, sometimes they're fine for a while and then all of a sudden they kinda hit that, proverbial, wall and so.
Another follow-up question, if I
Go
could,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. On the guidelines for operating, are we looking for any new positions in our budget this year?
That is something we can have a discussion on in the future.
Okay, I get the meaning there. But we're looking at probably 2.5? Is that what they're saying? 2.5%?
I think it'll be whatever, they're in negotiations with the unions right now. I think the contract ends June 30th. So they'll be negotiating with that as well. I think they'd like us to be, that standard cost of living, 2.5%
Yeah.
to 2.5%, but not more than that. So,
I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm good.
okay. On the lights, and I brought it up at the tennis courts. I presume this is a Musco light system?
Yes.
Which is an awesome system, but it's gonna be pretty tall poles.
they'll be, I think they are 40, hold on, I have it here, 40, same as the tennis courts, 40 foot. Those poles that are there now, I think are
Right.
30 or 40 feet now, 30 feet.
Could we also go to a lighting contractor and do more poles that are less in height, and get a price on that?
Yes, we can, so more poles means closer to the courts, and that's all ledge there, so it means if we're doing 3 poles and we're hitting ledge on 1 or 2 of them, we're gonna be
I
hitting ledge on more poles.
Right,
I don't-
I understand you love Musco, and I probably would help to get the first set of Musco lights, in the fields. So I'm at Marvin.
Yep.
So I know they're a great light system, but the big thing about them is the height, and the second thing is the installation so expensive because no one bids on it because of how high the poles are. You have to come in with the crane and so forth. You know, we always get high bids on that, where if we did a less height, more poles, we might, and I'm not saying, it would just, we could come in a lot cheaper possibly, and it would just be something as,
I can
that's
look,
our job is to test you and say,
I could look for another option. My recommendation is gonna be a professional lighting system that does sports and athletic fields, not parking lots. I'll look, I have no problem with that, I'll look, but, you know, I think we'd be coming back in 5 years to say, this system is inadequate, you know. So I'd be more than happy to look, and I can share that information when
Yeah,
I
it's
get
just-
the final stuff in.
once we get a set of plans, you can send it out to a lighting company and they can give you a price. It's, Moscow's awesome, I admit it's awesome, but it's pricey. It's, you know, town meeting, Ways and Means, they always ask us, do we do our best on the price? So it doesn't hurt to check to see if there's another option.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can you talk about the landscape architect?
Yes, so we had that on 2 years ago, and we had pulled, or last year, and we had pulled it because we were limited in our request. I just need to get back an updated figure for that. The figures we have received were in that 30 to 50 range, and what this would do is do a long-range plan for all of our outdoor facilities. So we had one that ended in 2019, was it, or 2018? A 20-year plan, and, you know, it was good, it was a nice guiding point on, or document, what we could do in the parks, and gave some basic pricing. And I know, you know, we turned to it, you know, Dom Roberts used it a lot. When I came on board, Kelly would talk about it a lot, and we'd look at it and what was, you know, up next and what we could do in the parks. What we looked at 20 years ago is completely different from what people are looking for amenities in parks now, and I think it's a good tool to guide us for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So as soon as I can get an updated quote, we'll do that. But I think it's probably, you know, from a planning standpoint, that 40 is probably pretty safe. I don't think there's, you know, their time hasn't gotten a lot more expensive. And that's basically what this is, a lot of time in documents that you'll receive at the end.
Okay, and it'll get used?
Oh, yeah. I think we're at a point where, you know, our playgrounds are 20 years old. They're showing their signs of wear. We've done one playground, I think, in the last 5 years, and that was Regan. You know, some reconfiguration of some, maybe some downsizing of some, and just adding, you know, maybe some of the equipment is still good, but you want to update it so you're able to add a new feature, whether it be a climbing wall type of thing or some kind of climbing net, or something else at a park. And, you know, but we are starting to see playgrounds, you know, really see their better days, or in the past. So it's good document to use for that as well.
Okay. Questions?
No, I just think it's a great idea. We should update it. The last time we did it was in 2000?
It might have been 1998 even. It might have ended in 2018.
Yeah, we definitely need a new long-range plan, so I think it's a good idea.
Excuse me. Okay. Quick question. The new playground stuff that they make, is there anything like, what's the new stuff that they're coming out with? Like, if we did Simon's, so Simon's Park is, you know, that's a big, you know, we got Wildwood, but Simon's, I know we've talked about, that's gonna have to be done over at some point. The new stuff that they got coming out, is it totally different than what we got there now, or is it close, or is it, like, you talk about walls and
Yep.
The price tags on stuff like this?
You could, price tag is gonna be out there. The
Well, that's
surfacing
what we
is,
gotta sort of plan for. Is-
right. The surfacing, nowadays, most playgrounds, it's a huge expense, but go to the Port in Place. It doesn't mean it's maintenance-free. There is maintenance to it, but the surfacing is a big deal. There's a lot of equipment that is, utilizing the body in strength to move around a playground. Less sedentary stuff, would you say? Like, where you're just sitting there swinging or you're, going down a slide.
Monkey bars, obviously,
Right.
swings and everything, but like the
More perceived risk, right? Like
Yeah.
the riskier something seems as a kid, the more you wanna play on it.
and stuff
So-
like, maybe stuff for more handicapped people.
So if Simon's has been talked about, we've been approached, by a local attorney for a pretty big company here in Burlington that would like to, start working on Simon's, a plan. So we've started that, this past fall. We talked to her in the spring or early summer, and we got moving through late summer and into the fall. Her husband is also commercial real estate in Burlington, so we're hoping we can leverage those along with the Simon's Trust, some other, and obviously town meeting to do an inclusive playground at Simon's Park. So utilizing the ledge that's there outside of the playground for ramping and stuff, so a participant, no matter their ability level, would be able to get to every element on that playground.
Awesome.
Yeah, whether with some kind of assistance of walking device or in a wheelchair, would be able to access every portion of that playground. So, but as far as equipment, as Kelly said, it's more, that perceived risk, that, I look at like the American Ninja Warrior or whatever that show is, like those kind of things, not scary, but, where you actually have to use your body and your brain to move around to do things.
I just ask, like, what it costs for the sunshade that, for over at Wildwood Park, how much, something like that at Simon's, all the stuff that we would have to do, an inclusive handicap, all these things that we would really want, these price tags are gonna be, you go to town meeting and,
Right, so, obviously if we can show that we're sharing costs, that someone else is assisting with this, that, we're hoping that town meeting looks at it as, this isn't, we're not all footing the bill, there is other people helping with this, and, that it makes it more palatable. But I think just in this current environment, financial environment, things are gonna cost more.
Right.
Um,
I'm not
so
saying
playground
it's
equipment,
not happening tomorrow, that's for sure.
Right.
But I was just wondering that's something that I should look into. I gotta look into that myself. I've never really looked at the price, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
so a lot of the playground equipment companies offer, I don't wanna say standard, but a lot of the same types of elements, they have little twists and stuff, but then they have their little niche stuff as well that they develop, so, we would look to, in the past, you would put in a playground by one company, but somewhere like Simon's is such a destination that we would probably try to take from a couple different companies, right? And put the best of each one up there. Landscape Structures makes this awesome merry-go-round that you can get, is it 2 wheelchairs on? And it's ground level, so like you will go up, Port in Place right up to it, and it has the cylinder is below ground in like a pit, and you just roll right on, you can roll right on, and you spin around. When you're done, you roll smoothly right off. There's no unloading from a chair and loading into a seat. It's just completely inclusive right on. But then, another company may offer an awesome climbing net. So we don't have to go with just the same company to make it, easier, that we'd look for the best of each, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's good. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. We had a merry-go-round, I think, at Memorial School at recess. Totally safe. The seats all around the edge were always full. People standing in the middle, and you try to go as fast as possible.
getting
That
dizzy.
had good fear factor
Oh, yeah.
and safety.
You're trying to spin people off it.
Oh, yeah.
Feet were all like this.
Well, we used to
Yeah.
hang off of them.
So,
I'm not saying that.
That's the safest.
that's fair. Is that
It's
the
a little
fear you
different
want?
now. It's a little different. It
Little
doesn't quite look the same.
Yeah.
It's a speed restrictor.
It doesn't, you can't really stand in the middle, like,
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Okay, well, maybe we could have a retro one.
We could, a throwback.
Is there someplace?
I'm sure
hidden in
there's
the
some,
woods?
there's probably some playgrounds
Yeah.
across this country that still have those in the metal slides,
Yeah.
right? That they were always placed in direct sunlight.
No, we can't do that because
Burn
Amy
yourself.
Poehler talked about that in Parks and Recreation, so
You did?
She sure did.
it's a known hazard now, we can't. Okay, anything else on the 10-year capital plan?
No.
Okay, so that is awesome. Any other new business?
I'm working with Francis Wyman is looking at some playground, project stuff, whether it's all new or, getting rid of the wooden stuff that they have there, and bringing in some, other elements. They've had a couple meetings. I was able to make the last one. And we have a vendor coming out to talk to them about options as well. So, they are looking at something as well, to do some kind of playground. Whether it's this year's town meeting, which, I don't think they could be, they would be prepared to go to town meeting or not, but I know Bob Kuna is on that as well. So, but looking at trying to maybe get rid of some of the wood that's splintering and doing all those things, but.
Bill, do you get included in these meetings?
Not often, but
Maybe you should. You're the one that has to maintain it.
Yep.
Was it 20 years ago when they built a giant wood playground over there? It was a maintenance with the slide going down the hill, and it would be nice if you could give your input in the beginning so they don't design something that's not manageable? It's not the word,
Maintainable?
maintainable.
maintenance friendly.
And it wasn't 20 years ago. It was only like,
Was it?
yeah, it was, I left in 2009, it was right around then that it was installed. So,
Okay. All right, so any old business? Okay. No need for executive session, right?
nope,
Okay. Next meeting is the 24th of January possible?
it is before town meeting, so we'd have to be done by
7:30?
7:30, yes.
So
Um,
a 6 o'clock meeting.
But I'd like to,
School committee room? I mean, that room that
we could still do here. They're talking today about how town meeting will look. I think they're hoping to have everyone in person. So if we, if they are having everyone in person and we're gonna meet, we could meet over there, or we can meet here. We don't have anything on, there's no warrant articles or anything on the agenda for Parks and Recreation. So we could meet here and then anyone that's going could go over after, or you probably have to be over there, right? Or we could just meet over there.
Okay, so does that work?
So what are you talking, the 24th?
24th?
And then I would like to meet, I am expecting the quote information, and I can get it out to everyone. I'd like to meet before that to discuss capital items. We can do it virtually, we can do it in person, in a room at the department. We don't have to do it in a room, like this, but before we get to town get to the 24th.
Okay, so 2 meetings in January.
Yeah, I just, once I have the other information, I'll put it out there and we can see how we can meet prior to the 24th. But at least our next scheduled meeting would be the 24th.
All right, great. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Steve and Tom, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, so 4-0-0.